Mu Xuan is a popular hypnotist from China who is loved and adored by millions. But one day, news breaks that he is suffering from insomnia. This sends his fans into a state of frenzy, and he receives a lot of backlash. In the first scene, Mu Xuan is attending a show where he talks about the news. After it is over, his recently recruited nutritionist, Qin, approaches him. She tries to lift Mu Xuan's spirits by mentioning how his fans will stand by him and how the news is not that much of a big deal. However, Mu Xuan simply asks why she is here instead of at his house. Qin replies that she came here to remind him of the text message she sent him. When Mu Xuan checks his phone, he discovers that it was her who accidentally spilled the news. Enraged, Mu Xuan chastises Qin for being reckless and even calls her good for nothing. In her defense, Qin says that she didn't know the man was a reporter. He lied that he was a fan of Mu Xuan, so she became excited and shared everything with him. Unfortunately, this infuriates Mu Xuan even more, and he starts dragging Qin out of the building. She tries to calm him down, but when nothing works, she screams that he is a murderer in front of everyone. Mu Xuan, who is already in the news for the wrong reasons, is compelled to let her go. Later, when the two reach home, Qin apologizes and mentions that she had no idea her careless action would result in such a serious issue. Her apologies, however, do not make him feel better. So, Qin continues claiming that hypnosis and insomnia are very different conditions. The media is just exaggerating it to stir up controversy. Saying this, she tries walking away, but Mu Xuan stops her. He shouts that somebody with moral principles would never gossip about the private lives of others. He also calls her an idiot for believing the reporter's lies. Hurt by the words, Qin again tries to apologize, but Mu Xuan is having none of it. Instead, he accuses her of kickstarting his insomnia. Hearing this, Qin loses it. She angrily tells him that she's quitting. Surprisingly, Mu Xuan immediately changes his demeanor and stops her. He explains that he won't be able to hire a new nutritionist instantly, as people would get more suspicious. So he asks Qin to stay for one extra day. In exchange, he promises to pay her a large amount of cash. Qin accepts the proposal, but only on the condition that she will leave precisely at 10 o'clock. Shortly after, when Qin tries to join Mu Xuan for dinner, he stops her, saying that she is not welcome to eat with him. The two are binded by a single day's contract, so they don't have to be together. Hearing this, a furious Qin admits that she once thought highly of him, but when they actually met, she learned what a horrible person he is. Mu Xuan retaliates by saying that he once believed her to be an excellent nutritionist, but she turned out to be a gossiping idiot. Later, Mu Xuan's childhood friend Jia comes to meet him. She expresses how worried the news made her, but Mu Xuan assures her that he is fine. Following this, the two are talking about their respective lives when suddenly, Jia confesses her feelings for him. Not only this, she is also ready to take care of him. Unfortunately, Mu Xuan replies that he never considered her anything more than a friend. Jia is visibly distraught, but she fakes a smile and lets him know that she has found a new client for him. In the next scene, Mu Xuan and Qin make their way to the client that Jia had made an appointment for. When Mu Xuan sees him, he is taken aback, as the person is none other than his old rival, Shangxi. Qin is also shocked, as he is the same reporter who tricked her into revealing the secret. Shangxi explains that Jia didn't want to be with him because she has feelings for Mu Xuan. This is why he decided to take revenge. The revelation infuriates the two, but Mu Xuan doesn't want to create a scene. So he walks away, but not before warning Shangxi that it isn't over. However, the nutritionist has other ideas. She tries to slap Shangxi, but ends up getting thrown in the swimming pool. Fortunately, Mu Xuan dives into the pool and helps her out. Later, as Mu Xuan is drinking heavily, Qin tries to cheer him up. In the process, she explains that she is working to raise money for her mother's medical treatment. She also advises him to keep hope throughout this chaos. As the conversation deepens and the two become more comfortable, Mu Xuan teases her by saying that as a psychologist, he is aware that she likes him. Shocked by the sudden comment, Qin walks away from there. However, Mu Xuan doesn't stop. Instead, he continues to flirt with her and eventually falls asleep on her lap. Surprisingly, at night, the flirting turns into something serious. Mu Xuan brings a diamond ring and proposes to Qin with it. The latter decides to tease him first, so she asks why he threw away her photo earlier, if he really likes her. As a response, Mu Xuan suddenly pulls her photo out of his pocket and mentions that he always keeps it with him. He also claims that being close to her helps him sleep. Hearing all this, Qin takes the ring from him and promises to never leave his side. At night, she experiences a nightmare. A mysterious man wearing a cap is profusely apologizing for killing her. The next morning, Chin meets Mushuan at his home. She greets him as if it is their first time meeting. Surprisingly, Mushuan doesn't get confused or angry. It's almost as if he is familiar with this habit of Chin. Later, she watches a video of the general public discussing Mushuan's insomnia. This startles her, and she begins apologizing again. It's almost as if she had lost all of her memories. Then, Mushuan makes her sit on a sofa and reveals that she actually suffers from short-term memory loss. He explains that she cannot recall most of the memories, and that's why the news startles her. However, Chin doesn't believe him. She goes on to say that she is a perfectly fit person with no mental diseases. To make her understand, Mushuan asks her to recall what happened the day before. Chin thinks for a while, but just can't remember the fight they had. Once again, she becomes angry and prepares to leave, but Mushuan uses the same trick from yesterday. He mentions that he will pay her more. Unsurprisingly, the plan works, and Mushuan celebrates his cunningness with a smile. Afterwards, when Chin is about to set the alarm for 10 o'clock, she notices that there is already one, which confuses her. Later at lunch, Mushuan informs Chin that he will be reenacting the events of the previous day so it can help to stimulate her memory. Initially, Chin doesn't want to do it, saying she's perfectly fine, but when Mushuan insists, she agrees. He then utters some sentences that she used the previous day, but this only makes Chin laugh. She claims that she would never say such things and that he is making things up. Just as the conversation is starting to heat up, Mushuan gets a call from Shaanxi. The latter suggests that they meet and settle their differences. Mushuan obliges and takes Chin along with him. Unsurprisingly, she keeps acting like she was the previous day. Mushuan knows that Chin will end up in the pool, so before she can attack Shaanxi, he drags her away. Later, as Mushuan is drinking alone, he receives another call from Shaanxi. This time, the evil reporter is angry because Jia has declined his proposal. He angrily yells at Mushuan to wait for his next move. Chin overhears the entire conversation, so she approaches Mushuan and starts blaming herself for everything. In order to calm her down, he assures her that it isn't her fault. Mushuan also asserts that he doesn't want to hear her apologize for the same thing every day. Unfortunately, the same events that happened yesterday happen again. From Chin telling her mother's quote to Mushuan falling asleep on her lap. Because of all this, she eventually realizes that they have been meeting every day and that she is simply forgetting about it. At night, when Chin is about to leave, Mushuan again proposes to her. This time, she asks whether he will marry her, despite the fact that he proposes to her every day and she accepts it, only to forget about it the next day. Mushuan is taken aback that she has finally found out about her condition. Nonetheless, he responds that he is willing to do this every day until Chin fully recovers. In this way, the same set of events take place, with Chin always forgetting everything. One day, Chin doesn't arrive at the usual time she always does. This worries Mushuan, so he contacts her mother, who reveals that Chin has already left the house. Later, he rushes to Shaanxi's place and finds Chin being held hostage by the bodyguard. Scared, Mushuan tries to persuade his rival into letting her go, but to no avail. As all of this is happening, Chin mentions that she has nothing to do with Mushuan. She's only his nutritionist, and this is her first meeting with him. Hearing this, Shaanxi starts laughing. He then tells Mushuan that he admires him for always treating Chin so well, even if she forgets about him the very next day. This confuses Chin, so she asks what they're talking about. Shaanxi bluntly reveals that she suffers from short-term amnesia. After this, he aggressively questions Mushuan about why he is stopping Jia from getting together with him. The latter simply responds that Shaanxi is not good enough for her. Enraged, Shaanxi attempts to stab Mushuan, but Chin steps between them and gets cut on the arm. The madness finally ends when Jia arrives with the police. After Shaanxi is taken away, Mushuan hugs Chin and asks why she did that. In response, she says that she just remembered him proposing to her. Later, Chin watches a video of Mushuan discussing her amnesia. He describes the contract, the ring, and the signed photo to prove that he is not lying. By the end of the video, Chin is almost in tears. So, when Mushuan enters the room, she hugs him tightly. But as usual, Chin forgets everything the next day. Mushuan, on the other hand, does something different this time. When she greets him, he carries her to his bed and kisses her on the lips. She first refuses, but eventually kisses him back. Then, we see them chatting on the bed. Chin tells him that she remembers Mushuan proposing to her, which gives him hope that she will recover. In the meantime, she suddenly recalls something and rushes outside. Later, Chin is seen crying as she walks. We soon learn that the previous dream she saw is actually a memory. Mu-Xuan is the mystery man, and he was apologizing to her because he's responsible for her amnesia. The scene then shifts to the next day, where Chin pretends to have forgotten everything as she normally does. This upsets Mu-Xuan, so he yells, saying how easily things can return to zero. After this, he proposes to Chin once more, but this time she refuses and walks away. Later, Mu-Xuan receives a letter from her saying that she is leaving the city in hopes of regaining her memories. Chin also reveals that she is aware that he is the cause of her amnesia. Now, it pleases her that the amnesia is making it easy for her to forget him. Mu-Xuan is distraught that Chin has started seeing him as a bad person. In the evening, he meets Jia and confesses everything that happened between him and Chin in the past. It's revealed that they fell in love at first sight. However, Chin wouldn't allow anyone to touch her, not even Mu-Xuan. One day, he learned that Chin had a childhood trauma from being kidnapped. So in an attempt to erase those traumatic memories, he inevitably caused her to develop amnesia. Since that day, she only has memories from the day before they first met. In the final scene, when he turns around, he is surprised to see her standing in front of him. She proposes marriage to him with the same diamond ring. Startled, Mu-Xuan asks if she recalls why he wiped her memory. Chin says no, but she does remember how much she loves him. The movie ends with the two hugging one another.